Listen to the prophet Isaiah in 43, 5 and 6. Fear not, God is saying this to the Jewish people, for I am with you. I will bring your descendants from the east and gather you from the west. Wow. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the end of the earth. Who would ever imagine? You know, I'm from inner city South St. Louis. Who would ever I would have never dreamed that in the end times, preparing for the coming of the Messiah, that God would open the windows of heaven over us because we understand standing with the land of Israel and fulfilling the prophet Isaiah. God has called you to fulfill the prophet Isaiah in bringing God's children from the north, the south, the east, and the west out of the lands of the nations. You know, we've got several gifts for you, and these are powerful gifts. These are some of the nicest things we've ever given. And I want to talk about the coin in a minute, but it just hit me in my spirit that we have this book by Derek Prince called The Destiny of Israel and the Church. And I was just looking at it as we were watching that spot, and it reminded me, Derek Prince, I don't know if you know who Derek Prince was. He's gone on to be with the Lord, but he was one of the greatest prophets and apostles of our era, maybe any era. And Derek asked me to come to Jerusalem. I'd never met him. He'd heard about us. We contacted each other. And literally on his deathbed, he laid hands on me. And I was thinking about this when we're reading about 70 nations right now representing the Gentile world, the 70 grandsons of Noah, the 70 nations sacrificed, a bull sacrificed on the Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot. And Derek laid hands on me, and this is when God was first launching me into understanding the Jewish roots and standing with the land of Israel. And he said to me, he said, you will be the arrow shot from the bow in the hands of God to destroy the enemy in the nations of the world that have been destroying my people. And that's what we're doing right now. You and I are partnering together with God during Purim. The story of Esther, listen to me, the story of Esther, we've got it to you on the teaching. The story of Esther is one of my favorite teachings in all the Bible. I said it before, it's the hidden hand of God. It's called the hidden face of God. It's the only book in the Bible that doesn't mention the name of God. Listen to me prophetically. As God has had you watching this program, God is calling you to partner with Tiz and I, to partner with the land of Israel. You know, we say this all the time. One of my favorite sayings at Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum in Israel, there's a statue, and it's a teaching. It says, when you save one life, God sees it as if you saved the whole world. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that people hate you just because you're a Jew? Could you imagine this being your son or your daughter? We met with one girl in Jerusalem, and she said, when I was 7 years old, I came to visit my grandmother in Israel. And when I came back to the Ukraine, my mom and dad said, tell everybody you went to America, because if you went to Israel, they'll know you're a Jew. I'm telling you something. It is a time for you and I to stand against anti-Semitism. It's time for you and I to stand against anti-Israel. And it's time for you and I to stand with Israel, with our Jewish brothers and sisters, and say, come on, let us help you, Aliyah, fulfill prophecy. We got to go, but you know, I need to talk about this next week. Remind me of this, guys. When Mordecai said to Esther, for such a time as this, then he said, and if you don't do it, God will raise up another. Don't let anybody take your place of blessing. Don't let anybody take your place of prophecy. Don't let anybody take your place of being a blessing to Israel. And don't let anybody keep you from letting God turn your story upside down. This is a time of Purim. You may not feel God, you may not see God, you may not be hearing God. It may be such a big Haman enemy in your life. But let me declare to you, just like God did in the time of Esther, Haman is done, and your blessing is on its way. I'm Larry.
I'm Tiz.
We love you guys. We can't wait to hear the miracles that God is doing with you as you stand with Israel.